Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. If you guys want to see these videos done live, come to twitch.tv/NaxHill. Every Monday to Thursday, we react to stuff from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock EST is when we start, and then we go for 4 hours to 5 hours to 6 to 7 to 8, 6, 7. Anyway, if you guys want to see the videos done live, come to twitch.tv/NaxHill. This is the apocalypse fantasy nobody admits to.
The apocalypse
jump into it.
Happen. How come there are so many tutorials
on
how to survive?
We all know we low-key.
We humans want
we all know we low-key want an apocalypse, but not an apocalypse. We just want the experience of the apocalypse, because imagine you're living in a world where nothing is the same and every day is a fight for survival. As humans, we want more. We like peace. We like the fact that we are civil and respectful and virtuous and just like nice, but we also want this idea of, imagine you had to survive. Could you do it? It's like this idea that humans will always have is, can I do it? Am I enough? Will I be enough? Would I be able to do this? It's so interesting. I want one.
The cooler ones. But then we get to the real question of,
but like, I wouldn't actually want one, but would I want one?
For a world that is objectively terrible. While a lot of the scenes from The Last of Us do look stunning, it's not like we didn't just watch a person being torn apart. And the reason why we still yearn for that type of world is because we were never meant to live in this one. The modern world is fast, complex, and it puts you in a box that you can hardly step out of. It is a world built for productivity, efficiency, and
Damn! I'm not gonna lie, he hitting right on that though. Like, it's just about this idea that we continue living, but what are we living for? And that's why when people say they break out of their box and they experience this freedom, it probably feels similar to how an apocalypse would feel, as they are not living by the standards of society, of the normalcy of everyone's brain processes, where it goes, I have to work, I have to make money, I have to provide for my family, or I have to work, I have to make money, I have to succeed in my future. Like, there's always this mindset that is always leading back to one thing, and that is working, and that is pushing yourself to your limits. For what? What am I doing this for? And then you look at an apocalypse and you look at all these things and you're like, wow, then the freedom, the ability to just do whatever I want in a day and not worry. Great show on Netflix that actually compares to that. I don't remember the name exactly, it'll pop up on screen right now, but it's a great show for the idea of this character who just he lived a life of such constraint and such unleniency. He didn't enjoy it, he didn't like it, and when the apocalypse happened, he thrived.
It's in consumption, not human well-being. When you wake up, you pick up your phone and it hasn't even been a minute, but you're already engaging with people, entertainment, and the news, all before you have even had a chance to step out of bed. In today's world, it's almost impossible to be bored or to reflect on yourself and life as a whole. We live in a fast, complicated mess. Yeah,
literally, watching Joe Bart, he literally mentioned this actually, and that's a big reason. Okay, if you guys don't know, I'm a huge fan of Joe Bartolozzi. I resonate a lot with what the person he is says, and one of the things he said was he misses boredom because he's always doing something. Maybe not the likes of like Mr. Beast, but he feels as though when he finds a moment where he can relax and do nothing, he still wants to be doing something, because his mind is in such a like, he didn't say these specific words, but his mind is moving in such a productive rate where he always wants to be doing something. If he's not working, he feels as though he's being lazy.
And consumption, work, and stress. It is to a point almost inhuman. It kills creativity. And
it actually makes me, whenever I sit and I'm bored, or I'm in a boredom state, or I'm doing something that is avoidant of not doing my work or getting like a content done, or I'm out or something, I'm always sitting there like, dude, come on, man. And then later on, after I wake up or after I'm done doing what I'm doing, I'm like, bro, you are so pathetic. That was 2 hours, that was 3 hours that you could have been spending fucking working on videos, man. Like, what are we doing?
Technical freedom, but for most people, that freedom just means the freedom to go on a short vacation once a year. We feel that we have freedom, but at the end of the day, you still have to wake up at 6 a.m. and take the bus to go do something that you don't want to do.
Yep.
So apocalypse is simply an
subscribe so I don't have to do that.
It's escapism to a place that seems simpler, calmer, and just better to live in.
It does.
The post-apocalyptic world,
I wouldn't say better to live in. I would say
down. So instead of
I wouldn't really say better to live in. I don't think an apocalypse would be better to live in. I think our society has its ups and downs, but I think over time you would realize, in comparison, 10 years in apocalypse and 10 years in the life we live now, you would miss the life you had. You'll always miss the things you don't have, even if it seems good or bad to you. It's always greener on the other side, as they say. And in this situation, an apocalypse seems like it would be better, and it probably would be better in certain instances. But there would be a lot of instances, depending on the apocalypse, depending depending on the thing, where you feel as though you are restrained and held back, when in your then you would compare to your old life and you'd be like, well, even though I had to work this time much, I still had so much freedom where I didn't have to worry about problems when I actually was free. Because in Apocalypse, yeah, you're free, and it's showing I Am Legend, but I Am Legend is is a very rare example. There are a lot of fucking apocalypse stories, majority of them being zombies or just anything, where you have to worry about natural disasters happening at any moment. You have to worry about zombies, you have to worry about other humans, and like in these situations, yes, you're able to be free, but for how long can you actually be free without that worry being so burdensome in your mind?
Driving your car to work while listening to music and scrolling on your phone while stressing out about work or school. In a post-apocalyptic world, you would be riding a horse through a overgrown neighborhood.
This is an
pondering
example,
the
of
meaning
course.
life, or eating beans while watching a movie in your bunker without a care for the world. This is why a post-apocalyptic world is so appealing.
It's an interesting concept because yes, he is right, and yes, it is appealing, and there are reasons that it is appealing, but that same concept holds value of nothing when you compare it to the sequence of you are on the run and you are getting chased by bandits who, if they catch you, they will do unspeakable things to you, and you have to live and survive in this world where those things are common occurrences that you have to worry about. Yes, you'll have moments where you're riding on a horse, but even in Last of Us, there are moments where you are living in life-threatening situations. You are having to sneak around things. We like to glamorize the great and forget the bad because that is how our brains pick and choose how things work. But in a situation of an apocalypse, there comes good, and specifically I Am Legend, yes, there's good, but there's also a ton of bad in this world. Like, it is not all good, it is not all glitz and glamour. Literally the beginning of the movie is the definition of wow, fuck me.
To the modern world and way of life. When fantasizing, we perceive it to be peaceful, calm, and most of all free. You don't have to pay the bills or answer to a boss you hate. You don't have the ability
He's
to
right.
hack your brain anymore because those predatory systems are simply gone. So while the start of an apocalypse might seem horrifying, it is also all of those modern obligations we hate just falling away. You realize
Should I watch Matrix, chat? I've never seen Matrix. I don't know why it just popped in my head.
Or school, that there is no more need to fit within the system because the system is gone. I think the best example of a life in an apocalypse that everyone would want is the one that Robert Neville lives during the first half hour of
I Am Legend. Yep.
He has a healthy routine and his day is calm and even. While it does go down in the gutter later in the movie, it does mainly happen so the story gets interesting. In a post-apocalyptic world, the result and gratification of your work would be instant and very real. It would be
instant and real, but there would be no point to it. You'd find a sequence of, yes, fun for a short amount of time, but the end result would be boredom because there would be nothing you could do. Now, this differentiates, of course, in stories, because if you have people and you build up a society and you actually build together, yes, that would be great. But underlying that, there would be the moments of worry, the moments of stress, the moments of death, the moments of real things that happen in an apocalypse. Yes, Robert Neville, or for I Am Legend, is a great example of the fun and the enjoyment that you can have in an apocalypse. But I also want to point out that this is an apocalypse where he is in a city alone by himself, losing his mind progressively throughout the thing, trying to find a cure to something that he doesn't understand. And it is very nice and joyous, but he's carrying around a rifle out of fear, not out of want, not out of enjoyment, not out of fun, out of fear. He's losing his mind because he's alone, and it's sad. This is a good example of what can be good and what can be bad. And I know he says it's to make the story better or whatnot, but there's a reason the apocalypse started. This isn't to make the story better. This is to show you what happens when humans deteriorate in the entire. Obviously, yes, it's to make the story better, but it definitely does come to show, like, humans deteriorate mentally when alone. We are social creatures. So in an apocalypse where you don't know who's good and bad, you will always be second guessing every decision you make. I do think Apocalypse would have a lot of fun, and there would be a lot of dope things and cool concepts. It'd be sad, it'd be depressing, it'd be awful, but it is definitely appealing, and I can most definitely understand that. But I just want to play devil's advocate to this video of, like, yes, glamorize the bad, glamorize an apocalypse, that is fine. You know, be like, cool, I would love this, but also understand that with the good, there is just as much bad, if not more.
primal, like needing to go hunting every day, and that's exactly what makes it that much more appealing. And hunting doesn't have to mean hunting an animal in a forest, it could be hunting for a new TV or hunting for some Twinkies. The hunter-gatherer way of
That
life
is
is
true.
deterred,
That
so
I
while
agree
it may
with.
be
It's
more
like
primitive, that's the life humans were originally supposed to live.
That's
And you don't
true.
have to worry about getting the new iPhone
But
or buying.
were we originally supposed to live that, or were we destined to live this? And if we weren't destined to live this, does that mean we were originally supposed to live that life only to evolve into what we are now? And why does that differentiate? And why isn't it the chase of chasing after prey the same as chasing after money? Isn't that the same chase? Aren't there two similarities to each side? Now, I'm not disagreeing with this guy's mentality. I just always like to view things in two different ways. There's always more than one way to perceive. There's always more than one way to perceive things, and it just interests me. I love the concept of an apocalypse. I'm a big fan of apocalyptic movies. They're so enjoyable. They're so fun. The scariness of it, the genuine enjoyment of it. There's so many different values that play into part there, but at the same time, you have to understand that there is so much sadness and anger and bad, and like there's good, there's bad, there's worse, there's better. There's just gonna be a whole mix of emotions, and that's the life we live now, just in an apocalyptic version. I don't know. I love this video though. Holy.
All you have to worry about is staying alive, which
True.
in most scenarios is actually possible, since you wouldn't have to be the main character. There would be no constant flow of news and worries. There would be no more laws and order, which is scary, but it also means that you can now deal with your annoying neighbor like you always wanted to.
It's true.
However, it is also quite ironic that most of us definitely wouldn't survive the apocalypse, least of all the ones working a regular office job in a big city. But that's why it is a fantasy and not something that we literally wish for. The thing everyone looks to the most in this type of scenario is not having to work a job or go to school anymore. And honestly, I can't recount how many times I've been sitting in class and just wishing to hear that there is a new pandemic or something like that. That's why this is one of the main factors which makes fantasy of an apocalypse appealing. The fact that you don't have to wake up early anymore and go.
It's not really the apocalypse itself, it's the freedom it brings. That's what the thing is. It's not about the apocalypse per se, it's what the apocalypse brings in its entirety, right? Because with the apocalypse comes no work, no school, as he said. With the apocalypse comes scavenging. With the apocalypse comes decisions every day that are different than yesterday. Every day you wake up doing the exact same thing. I'm not saying this for everybody, I'm saying this for the majority of people wake up and they have a schedule. Now, a schedule isn't bad, but what a schedule does is it dictates your life in a way that you have no control over. And of course, you can change your schedule and make it your own, but those are the ones who break out. The ones who don't break out and have to, their mind is like almost like coded to the way of the world nowadays, to where they have to work, they have to make money, they have to pay rent, they have to do these things. The ones who have the choice are the ones who have the money. I can't call it a work all the time. I can't choose my schedule. I can't do this or that because I don't make that money. But the ones who do, they are the ones who get to understand the feeling of freedom in a sense more than others will. But the ones who do are also the ones who have worked very, very hard to earn that. Of course, there's certain situations where that is not true, but majority is.
Thing you hate. The traditional way of life is over, and you can finally live a life where you matter and you yourself can create meaning within. That's the gist of what makes this tragic fantasy of a post-apocalypse actually appealing, and not something only weird people think about. Although humans are weird by nature, so hey, it's probably all messed up anyway. Though there is still something I haven't covered. That's the question of why am I only talking about a post-apocalyptic world? Why does this escapist idea only really apply to an apocalyptic event? I believe that the answer lies within people's motivations and willingness to act in their best interests, because even in today's world, you can do things that will lead to a slower and calmer life, but a lot of people just don't have the drive to achieve it. And that's why the idea of this lifestyle being forced on us is much more appealing. To have something external just wash everything
You have no
away,
choice.
have the world change in order to accommodate itself to you. And this apocalyptic fantasy is also so much better than ones like time travel because you still reside within the modern world. It's not like living in the 16th century without modern technology. Moreover, because the apocalypse happens in the present, it's a point of grounding, and it seems more realistic. We can all imagine and somewhat expect a new virus outbreak, nuclear war, or a big solar flare.
The irony of that, by the way.
Imagine Doc Brown suddenly jumping out of his DeLorean one day and inviting us to an adventure.
W reference, though, by the way. Back to the Future's goated.
In a forest where he then takes us to a spaceship.
I mean, the ET one, I don't actually have that much doubt on.
Open universe where you can do whatever.
The way I'm making the apocalypse sound makes it seem like I'm talking about a paradise, but I assure you that I am not. It's simply that an apocalypse is an incredibly realistic event.
It's been confirmed that a new virus that has killed 3 people and has been spreading across China can be passed from person to person, not just from animals. More than 200 people have been infected with the virus that causes breathing problems. The World Health Organization.
Holy shit, this is Corona, chat. This is crazy. Like, it's wow. Yeah.
And we humans have a way of fantasizing about these things and ignoring the hardships that would actually come with them. Most of the stories that take place within a post-apocalyptic world have a happy ending. So I Am Legend, for example, where Robert Neville does make peace with the Darkseekers and even coexist with them for quite a while. And The Walking Dead, where Rick Grimes manages to survive all the way till the end. And that's the survivorship bias that we get after watching.
I wanted to say, yeah, he survives, not mentally though.
I think that we could also survive and achieve a life in the apocalypse because the guy on the screen we relate to did it too. This is why these escapist fantasies aren't as popular with things like time travel or aliens, because those are just that much more unlikely. I know that an alien apocalypse does also cause an alien post-apocalypse, so while it fits, it's not the main point. And that is why a lot of us...
I also think there's a difference in things, because, like, I truly think that it depends on the apocalypse, okay? And he's talking about aliens. There's a show, very good show, by the way. I might actually check that show out, because it's a very, very good show. But it was called Falling Skies? Falling Skies, chat. So it's called, so this is it. It's Falling Skies. If you guys have never seen Falling Skies, it is a very intriguing show, and that is an apocalypse, and it is not a good one at all. Good show though.
Hope to live in a
depends on the apocalypse though. I think
that some post-apocalypses would be actually kind of pleasant, provided that you survive them.
Yeah.
Like the one in The Last Man on Earth, and some that would be totally and utterly horrible to live in, like the one from Fallout or Metro. But where I think the genre really peaks is the ones that are both bad and good. So The Walking Dead, I Am Legend.
Yep. The Walking Dead for sure. I Am Legend dependent. You have to be the main character. Like, unless you're in that, it doesn't. I don't know if I'd want to live in I Am Legend. Granted, it's both good and bad, but yeah.
Last of Us and Zombieland.
Last of Us and Zombieland,
coincidentally, are all based on zombies.
Yeah.
Which just perfectly explains why zombies are the perfect catalyst for post-apocalyptic worlds. Personally, whenever I found myself thinking about wanting a zombie apocalypse to happen, I was very puzzled, because in of itself it is a bad thing, but when you look at it from an objective point of view and take into account human nature, it is only a kind of release valve for all of the problems that we have in the modern...
Woo! Yo, I'm not gonna lie, he kind of just spit with that last 40 seconds. A release valve of all the issues that lie in our world as of now. Like, he didn't say it like that, but, like, obviously I'm adding my own words. But the point that I'm pointing out is the release valve of our problems. Wow! Like, it's basically like unclogging your sink. It's the dam that overflows, but you're finally just breaking the dam, and it's all going to this safe area instead of being a danger.
World. It's as they say, the grass is always greener.
On the
Let me know in the comment section down below.
This motherfucker
topic, or maybe you have unanswered questions or suggestions. In any case, check out the channel for more in-depth videos like this.
This was a goddamn legendary video. I'm gonna like this shit and subscribe because I fucking loved this guy. Wow. I want to be able to live life without feeling like I owe someone else a fee for existing. You know, we got it all wrong when the first thought you would have is, glad I don't have to work anymore. Damn. Valid though. Fucking beautiful video, man. Beautiful video. Go check out the original one and please go like that shit. This guy is a fucking goat. This was, wow. I loved this entire video. This was amazing.